All right, all right. Good morning. Good Tuesday morning. And I hope everybody's doing well in the market. Had some volatility. Should have made some money in the afternoon. The morning session was just a hard session, but got some good moves in the afternoon. But we'll look at that in a minute. Let's take a look. We got the red book year over year. That's a little inflationary indicator, so we could watch that. Probably going to have an effect. Usually, it doesn't move the market much, but being that that's the topic of interest, it's probably going to do its thing. Then we got global manufacturing, global services, global composite. So looks like they're expecting. I don't know, man. I would think because it's a global number that it's going to come in light. So I'll watch that. It's at 9:45. We'll see what the effect is. 10 o'clock, new home sales, important number for the U.S. Inflation indicator. So we'll take a look at that and just be careful. That may move the market. And a few other things you could watch out there. Well, tonight we have Kashkari speaking, so you could watch the futures overnight, get an indication of what tomorrow's going to look like. But that's about it. Not a whole lot of economic news going on this week, but a few things to keep your eye on. Try not to be out in front of it and get caught by surprise. And let's drop this bad boy down. And first things first, we'll take a look at oil. All right, oil's on top of its support right there, and it keeps whipping around, giving me some bottom tails. If I was going to take an entry, it would probably be we would have been in it already. Took the break of yesterday's high. Today you have this other pivot. If you're looking for an entry, obviously you could drop down to lower time frames and see if you can find an entry for today with a somewhat bearish bias. Yeah, you're gonna have to look for a flag somewhere. Yeah, you could probably clock this flag right here. Momentum is hanging in there. So at about 9:30, this bar should close. You should have the opportunity to get in. That's on a 240. You might find something a little lower. That 240 would be a nice flag. You'd have your targets up around here, around 94 or so. And the weeklies look like they're putting in quite a few bottoming tails. They're really respecting this 85 area. I was looking for that 84 number, didn't quite get it, but we got pretty close. Momentum is rather bearish. It's feeling a little heavy. You might get a head fake, maybe a pop up, and then turn around and break that support. I think we're going to end up breaking that support eventually. Although coming into seasonality may not be the case, but something might give in. Putin might surrender. Oh, that coffee's hot. Looking at gold. If it breaks today's low tomorrow, or yesterday's low rather today, then that could be a good entry for a retest of the lows. Looks like it's getting a little bottomy. So I would watch that. It might pop up to close that gap, but I'm still rather bearish on it. Although this looks like a trend reversal pattern, but it's going to have to break 1800 somewhere around in order for it to continue moving up. And same with bonds. It's feeling a little toppy. Break at yesterday's low today would be a good short. Got a little congestion over here to fight through, but looks like bonds feel like coming down a bit. Interest rates feel like pushing up. So we'll be a little bearish on that. And let's see if we get out of this correctly. Pink, and we do. Okay, so Here's the S&P, and it's feeling very, very heavy, but it closed this gap, which was important. It actually needs to come down a little more, probably down to 122, which is what I'm expecting. I think we're going to shoot down today and test the lows of the morning on the futures. And yet, that future daily looks like a hammer, but that's the daily. Doesn't mean anything right now. But I think we're going to come back down, test those lows, and that's going to close the gap up for the S&P. And I mean, so my bias is going to be a little bearish right off the start, but I'm looking for it's looking like it's getting a little putting in some bottom tails and looking for a move up. It's just a matter of a little confidence out there, people getting involved, and you got to realize, like that float down yesterday, that was light volume, and nobody's out there trading. It didn't run. That's why it was so hard to trade in the morning. Um, if you look at the morning charts, let's look at a 10-minute or a 5-minute. 5-minute would be good. Think. No. So you had a good flag right here, and then it just came in and kept consolidating. And if you were trading off of a 1 minute or a 30-second chart, it's a really hard day to trade, hard day to get down. And it would chop, 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 and then you pick up about 10 points, and it pulled back. And then finally in the afternoon, it gave that break, gave us an inverted cup and handle right there, bang, and then away she went. Down she goes. And that's where the money was in the afternoon trade, and give us a little return in the end. And Monday is really not a great trending day, so that too made it a very hard day to trade. But that being said, I'm watching that gap, and I'm thinking that gap is going to put in some support. Because I mean, a single top and a retrace is really not common. You get a consolidation or a double top before a turnaround. And that's really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that double top. I don't think we're out of the woods yet, but I'm looking for that double top and then a retrace. And that next retrace might be scary. We might be looking at like 3,800 or so. We got a gap over here that I'm convinced needs to be filled. The composite closed its gap. And that's pretty encouraging. Let's see, where's that close right here? This close was 348. This low right here was 353. Actually, it didn't quite get there either. So the composite may push down a little bit, which is what I'm thinking we're going to end up seeing is a push down and then a reversal, and end up with a flag like this. And I just jumped over to the daily futures daily, and we're looking at the flag. So this is the overnight movement, and not the flag, a hammer. End up with a hammer like this. So but I mean, we can't call it a hammer. This is today's bar, and anything can happen. Taking a quick look at the 240s. So we have a bearish divergence. We'd have to break the high, and this is kind of broke it. It's in a flag. It's not behaving the way I would think. It's making a lower low. I'd say one more time we'd have to break that 12. Or let's just say we break the 13, man. We break the 13 and it's good to invert. This could be setting up also a head and shoulders. This being a shoulder, that's the neckline. Here's the head, here's the shoulder. I mean, we get that little push down that I'm anticipating, and then we get this neckline right here. And once it breaks that, away it goes. That's probably how it's going to lay out. That's how I'm thinking. This is looking at a 60-minute. Can't really call that a hammer. It's more of a doji. So you still got that 13 support or resistance. Guess that's a little high. Call it 12,970. So that's what I'm looking for. And the Dow hasn't quite closed. So that's what I think is really going to drag the market down. The Dow is going to come down, close that gap, and then away we go. But look, down around here, back in June, oh, that's July 14th. Is that? Yeah, July 14th. There's gaps, which is consistent on all the markets. And I'm just afraid that, it's calling for the market. So any catastrophe, and I think that's what our exposure is, those gaps right there. So that always makes me uncomfortable, especially, for longer or midterm positions. And the Russell, same dilly. And that's the market I like to watch. It kind of gives me a feeling of when people are ready to start investing. So we have this close down, this gap down here around the 14th, but it closed on the 15th. And that's the only market that did that, which is interesting. Um, but I could see the 1800 mark. So anyway, we've closed this gap, and now it's just a matter of, are we continuing to close gaps, and then do a recovery, or are we going to put in that double top? Because then we have these gaps over here that could be attracting the market up. We close these gaps, and then it opens us up for a serious move down. So yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Um, let's take a quick look at Tesla. Tesla's been getting some action, and they're going to do that split, which is going to welcome more people in for the trading. Um, and I see it's just in this pennant here. Well, this is a 5 minute. I don't want to analyze a 5 minute. Let's take a look at a daily. Oh, we got that double top going on right here. So actually, I'd be neutral pending a break of here and there. Here, there, everywhere. Um, that's my support. That's my resistance. This is a nice M pattern. If it breaks on this M pattern, just look for a retrace, a retest of this low, and then that should be your entry. So it should break. That break is very subjective. Retest the low, and then your entry. And probably got a target down around the 739 or so. $739. That was my rep number. So yeah, and you got that split on Tesla. So keep an eye on that. And historically, you could argue that after stock splits, within a year or so, it usually rallies back to the split price. Actually, the time frame may be off, but the activity or the character of it is correct. It rallies back to the time frame. And Apple, I want to take a look at Apple, but I don't want to look at it at a 5 minute. Take a look at the dailies. Oh, yeah, this is doing the gap fill too. I'm just feeling a lot of downside. Probably get that double top out of Apple too, and then end up closing these gaps before the market really starts doing its thing. September is going to be an interesting month. Historically bad. October, you could take a beating, and then I think the market will start moving up. So look for those double tops on the markets on some of the techs, and then maybe get liquid and wait for that retrace through September, October. Stop by and then. So anyway, that's my babble. That's my spiel. Thanks for checking in. Subscribe to my channel and help it grow. Hit the bell so you know when I'm doing something, and hit the like because it goes a long way and it helps me out. Any comments or contributions through Patreon is greatly appreciated. It makes everything possible. And remember, stay calm, stay cool, be at peace when you trade, and good luck with your trades.